If you bring a personal injury claim and it's fundamentally dishonest, which can include significant exaggeration of the amount claimed, the whole claim will be dismissed by the judge, even the valid parts. This video looks at why TV psychic and clairvoyant Maurice Amdur was found to have been fundamentally dishonest and why he lost his claim. Section 57 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015 states, in a claim for damages for personal injury, if the court is satisfied on the balance of probabilities that the claimant has been fundamentally dishonest in relation to the primary claim or a related claim, the court must dismiss the primary claim unless it's satisfied the claimant would suffer substantial injustice if the claim were dismissed. Now, what that means is if you dishonestly exaggerate your injuries or your financial losses in a personal injury claim, you lose the whole claim and you'll have to pay the other side's legal costs. A stark example of this was seen in 2021 when TV psychic Maurice Amdur was found to have shown fundamental dishonesty after claiming £250,000 for injuries he said he'd suffered in a road traffic accident. He claimed to have been unable to work for 2 years after the accident and had spent much of his time just lying on his couch. But the judge found he'd been working, and the judge found that his claim was both untrue and dishonest. Maurice Amdur is a clairvoyant, providing psychic readings to the rich and famous around the world. He's also a self-styled wheeler dealer, buying and selling high-end cars, paintings and watches. He also sells spiritual candles, which becomes important a bit later in the story. Now, in 2015, Mr. Amdur picked up a brand new Jaguar XKRS convertible, one of only 14 such vehicles in the world, and which cost about £80,000. On his way home, while stationary at the Marble Arch roundabout, another car rear-ended it, and Mr. Amdur's car received or suffered a cracked rear bumper. Now, he also sustained soft tissue injuries to his neck and back, more commonly known as whiplash. The judge actually describes him as, and I'm quoting, most unfortunate, because in fact he'd been the victim of 3 accidents since 2014, 2 while driving a car and 1 in a supermarket, and the judge said she would have awarded £5,000 for the pain suffered in the injury if it wasn't for the fundamental dishonesty shown in Mr. Amdur's claim for loss of earnings. It was also clear that he didn't make a good witness, by the way. The judge described him as speaking almost entirely in hyperbole and as having no eye for detail. She went on to say that the presentation of his claim has been slapdash, even reckless, with a disregard for the need to prove the losses claimed. That's quite stark wording from a judge. Now, interestingly, during the case, Mr. Amdur disavowed much of his claim and said his solicitors had exaggerated it, even though he'd signed a confirmation statement saying he believed it was true. So, what was the case about? Maurice Amdur claimed that because of the injuries he'd sustained, he was unable to work as a psychic for 2 years. The problem was that his bank accounts and his PayPal account showed money coming in, often for £250 at a time, which was his standard psychic consultation fee. Now, he argued those payments were either delayed payments for earlier consultations, some years earlier, or payments for candles. The judge didn't believe him. She said many of the payments came from regular clients, and it wasn't credible that they would pay him years later or that they would place regular repeat orders for £250 worth of candles. He also posted a Facebook message offering a discount on psychic readings. Now, when cross-examined about that, he said he was doing it on behalf of a friend to whom he would have referred any new clients, even though he'd initially said it was to generate new clients for himself. Again, the judge didn't believe him, saying his explanation made no sense. Coming to the findings of dishonesty, the judge pointed out that Mr. Amdur denied all allegations of dishonesty, and indeed she found that 5 of the 6 things said to have been dishonest, even if Mr. Amdur wasn't successful on them, hadn't been brought dishonestly. However, the judge decided that his claim that he'd been unable to work for 2 years was untrue, that he must have known it to be untrue, and therefore that he'd been dishonest. The judge went on to consider, as the law requires, whether he would suffer substantial injustice if the claim were dismissed. And that's because even if a claimant is found to have been fundamentally dishonest, as Maurice Amdur was, if they can prove that it would be fundamentally unjust to dismiss the whole claim, the judge has a discretion not to. But just losing the money from the claim isn't enough. There's got to be something more. And Mr. Amdur didn't suggest there was any other injustice. Accordingly, the judge dismissed the entire claim. Mr. Amdur will now have to pay the other side's legal costs, which are estimated at £100,000. The moral: don't lie in a court case, and if you ever knock on a psychic's door and they say, "Who is it?" walk away. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please do subscribe to my channel. You can do so here. Here's a video you might like, and here are some videos on employment law. Thank you for watching. I'm Daniel Barnett. Bye bye.